welcome to a new season and a new series of our podcast. We've been wanting to get back into doing this for a long time.
Yes, it's a new era. It's a new era in the Burkhalter house, and we're just really excited because it's just different. It's a different vibe here, right? It's just
Yeah,
God's done some things.
yeah. We've updated a lot, downgraded a lot, just moved around and trying to really figure out our place in our lane, not only in this podcast world, but in our marriage and in parenting. And so it's been a whirlwind since the last time that we've done this. And so we're excited to start a new chapter of Happily Ever After Hours. And as you can see, it's nighttime,
Yes.
That's kind of what we're going to try to get to and just have it be, I say, casual, mature talk, mature conversations, and just being able to be open and vulnerable still as we started with our people of hope, but kind of keeping that same, open, honest, and transparent conversation. But I feel like this will be hopefully, a lot more authentically us.
Absolutely. Authentic is the word that sticks out to me that we've talked about, because it's not that we weren't authentic the first time, but it's just a different, more relaxed setting because, life be lifing. And so just having these conversations and just having you guys at a seat at the table with us while we talk about these things and just kind of let it out, really. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And as parents, that the nighttime is the best time because all the babies are asleep and you can really just be you and be husband and wife and talk about those things. And so we're excited to basically open up our house to you guys.
Yeah, and we want to be able to not only have these nighttime talks, but we want you to be able to play this in an environment for others so they can hear the conversations, and so we can just really get back to, I think, what marriage is. I think as people, we've kind of gotten away from that. And here in Oklahoma, I did a research so not too long ago. Divorce here is like a 60% divorce rate. So anything that we can help and do to kind of help curve that backwards, get it going down, having couples stay together, that's definitely what we want to do.
Yeah, and it's not just for couples and married. If you're single and you're wanting to be in a healthy relationship or marriage, this is for you too.
Yeah.
We'll also be talking about other things, talking about extended family, talking about friends, talking about, life shifts and letting y'all know some of the things that, we go through just on a daily basis. So it's really going to be based for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I got the OTC shirt on. If you don't know what that is, you know what I'm saying? I'm a big wrestling fan. And so, like I said, the change, I saw a funny video this week. There was this guy called Stunning Steve Austin, right? And it was back when he was in the WCW. Okay. The Stunning Steve Austin had long blonde hair and he was a company guy, right? Transforming into WWF, now WWE, he turned into Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those type of transitions are monumental and their life career changing. And that's exactly what we're trying to do here. Differently from the way we did it. So we went back and we revamped what we wanted and how we wanted it to feel. But that's enough kind of like the vibe. I think you kind of understand it.
Yeah.
Let's get into what have we been up to.
What have we been
I'm a gentleman.
up to?
I'm a gentleman. So, ladies first.
Gosh.
What on your side, since the last time we did this, you said it was when you were 29?
I wasn't even 30 yet, y'all. And I'm going to be 33 this year. It's about 5 years ago when we did our first video. I looked it up today.
5 years? Really?
Yeah, it was.
We just jumped right into it.
Listen, we got together and said, hey, we stuck together, and that's what it's going to be. And we just jumped in.
Yeah, it was crazy. But it was a blessing. For sure.
Yeah, one day we may tell that story again for those of you that are new and don't know. But gosh, nobody was really doing podcasts at that time or
Not like,
anything.
not like what we had envisioned. You know, now
No.
there's a lot of people doing it, which is great. You know,
Yeah,
I think there's
yeah.
a lane for everything. As one of my favorite pastors says, you know what I'm saying, you got to be careful with the voices you're letting in. Because everybody got a podcast. I know you guys have seen it. And there's a lot of division,
Mhm.
a lot of division, I'd say, on some podcasts.
And that's one thing before I get into where I've been, because it just came to my head. That's one thing that I know we strive to be different about is yes, we're going to throw our little opinions out there, but we base our foundation on God and to give Him glory, regardless of if it's the most popular thing or not to say. And so, you know, the things that we talk about, it may be hard to hear sometimes because sometimes following God is not easy.
No, you know, and
And that kind of segues into what I've been up to. I mean, since the last time that we were doing videos, gosh, like I said, I wasn't even 30 yet. We didn't have our daughter yet.
no.
I'm pregnant now with our second daughter. You know, we moved to Bartlesville, Oklahoma. For those of you that don't know where that is, we were living in Oklahoma City. And then we moved 2 hours away from there into a significantly smaller town. And I have lived in the same area my entire life.
So it was a rude awakening a little bit.
It was tough. I cried many a nights. But I know that God wanted us to move not only for my husband's career, but also there was things that he was doing in me that I didn't know at the time. And, you know, looking back as we were preparing to, you know, discuss what we wanted to discuss, I was thinking about like my journey so far since we've moved. And it's been almost like a spiritual timeout for me. You know how kids sometimes, you know, we know that they don't always know when they do bad things, or sometimes they do and they still are working on it. And so you have to put them in a timeout so they can sit and think about, you know, the things that they're doing. And so I feel like in this time that since we moved, I was almost put into a timeout situation because not that I was doing anything bad, but I was caught up in doing the good works that I wanted to do for God and forgetting to put God first over those good works. And so I basically got set down from everything. We moved out here. Now I wasn't teaching dance anymore. Dance took up a lot of my life. You know, work was different. I work from home now. It's just a whole different vibe now for me, but in a good way. Like the peace that I have, the understanding and the wisdom that God's given me over this time um, has helped me in so many ways as a wife, as a mother, as a follower of God, and I wrote a book.
Kudos, absolutely. Wrote a book, and I was the what you call. I don't even know what the word is right now, but basically, I got to read the manuscripts before they was all put in there, and I was astonished by just the wisdom and the knowledge that she had put into the book, and then the vulnerability that she also put in the book. If you haven't got that, please.
Amazon.
Amazon.
In the midst of it all.
Yeah, and the name makes sense when you read it, right? But as a husband, I was super proud of her, and she has a knack for that. And I hope that she writes more books, you know, because it was very eye opening. And she talked a lot about kind of the things that she was going through here when we first moved. And it was hard for her, like she said. It was first time moving out of OKC, so for me it wasn't hard because I played collegiate football for those that didn't know. So from a small town, you follow Oklahoma here, and I went to Wyoming, right? So me moving wasn't an issue for me, but for her it was a challenge, and you know she fought it, not like in a bad way fought it, but like fought the
I just remember when you were like, "Hey, I have an interview in Bartlesville," and I was like, in my head, like, "Oh," well, I said to you, like, "Oh, that's great, yeah, go." But in my head, I was like, "He can go," but like, get the experience of an interview. I don't know what to tell them because I'm not moving.
But
and here we are.
Here we are, right? And I looked at other jobs around the city, and you know, we felt that for us it was the right move to move out here.
Absolutely.
And like she said, I think we've grown, and we've gone through some things. So with that,
that's all I got. What have you been up to?
So
let the people know.
You know, so okay, it's been a journey. But like we said, we moved out here and it was fantastic. You know, getting to be the head part of a program was very big for me. I felt like it was something that I've always wanted to do, and I got to do it. Shout out to the head coach here, right? You know, he did a good job of building a team of people, right? And having me be the defensive coordinator, it was a lot of fun, a lot of experience. I'm not a defensive minded guy. Now I am because I was on the defensive side for the last few years. But I played football, both sides of the ball in high school, and then when you get into coaching, you kind of have to go one way or the other. And I was always on the offensive side, and so again, the growth that we've gotten. When I came out here, I was like, hey, so what offense can I run? He was like, man, I kind of want you on the defensive side. And I was like, bro, that ain't gonna work for me. But I sat back, prayed about it, and God was like, take this opportunity, okay? And came out here for an interview, and left impressed with the facility and all that good stuff. And these last 2 years of doing that, it was very eye-opening for me just because I got to see a different view of football. Being on the defensive side, trying to figure out how to stop offenses, and it was a very fun challenge for me. So that was very entertaining. And so before we moved here, I don't even know if we talked about this because it's been a few years, but there was a lady at my wife's hair salon, and during that whole time of us talking about, coming here or not coming here, this lady just shout out to this lady, random lady.
Yeah, don't know her name, never seen her before.
Have you seen her again at the hair salon?
No.
I don't know what she was going through on that day, but the lady stopped beside her and was like, you got a gifting on you. And whatever you're going through, I think you're going to, basically survive and thrive in it, right?
Yeah.
And we hadn't told nobody we were moving here or anything like that. And so when we, as followers of Christ, I think we get into a picture of, well, I'm going to do this because it aligns with what he wants. It's more so our will within his will, but not his will for his will in our lives. And so, the 2 years that I got to be the head defensive coordinator, it was very, like I said, awesome deal. This past summer, however, it was taken from me due to my negligence, and that's fine. It took a long time for me to kind of get my head around that, but again, I feel that because I was trying to fit my will within his will, he was like, nah. And it again, it's happened in July, September now. They're beginning their new season, and so I have a very rough mouth, right? Like she was saying, just being open and honest. Like I got a problem with.
It's one of your struggles.
It's one of my struggles, and so. And shout out to Wright. He was like, hey, you got to do better with your words. And, I'm going to be authentically me regardless. So I told a kid that's not from Bartlesville that was badgering one of my players. They was going back and forth the entire time as I'm trying to coach. And I told them STFU, right? Because I'm trying to do the job that I'm out here doing. We had a 7-on-7 tournament. And several other coaches not doing anything, meandering around at the 50-yard line. meandering around at the 50-yard line, not doing what they're paid to do, right? And so I tell the kids the STFU, so then it's a problem um, because of how I'm raised and how I'm instructing young men. How I do it probably is not going to go with everybody, and that's okay. But I know for a fact that I have left an impact, a positive impact, on the young men that I coached. Um, and so that's the biggest thing for me that I'm appreciative of, right? Because sometimes you can do a million things and you never get any appreciation. So for those young men that say, "Hey, coach, man, we miss you, we love you, we hate that you're not doing this no more with us," that was a big thing for me going back into the school year, still at Bartlesville, educating the masses and doing a great job at it. And I love going to work every day. Like, that's the fun part. And the kids that I get to work with are some of the kids that I'd say kind of got discarded. And so being able to, pour in knowledge and information into them has been, I'd say, the highlight of these last 3 years, because it's allowed me to grow and to kind of see the impact that I'm making on young men and women. So that impact now, I just want to shift it. I'm still a coach, maybe not on the football field, but I'm the coach of life. And so that's something I'm excited about. I'm excited that we are back at doing this and giving, hopefully knowledge to young couples, young men and women that want to have a successful and a great marriage.
Yeah. And I'm going to stop you real quick just to say how proud I am of my husband, because he he's very well spoken. He's got, his degrees in communication. So he knows how to speak very well. But me as his wife, I was a little more rambunctious because I don't play about my people. But I will say that, a lot of people don't know how much it takes to be a coach, and it's not about the practices and the games. Like, he was doing, classes or I don't know what you guys, I can't remember what you guys called it, but lectures on Fridays or Thursdays about being better men. Mm-hmm. And he's, at home, not only getting his stuff ready for class, getting plays and looking at film, but also preparing to help these young men be better men outside of the field. Because let's be honest, every kid's not going pro. Every kid's not going to college to play football. Yeah. But every kid is gonna grow up to be an adult and
hopefully be a husband and a father.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and you took that responsibility very seriously, and so I'm very proud of you for that, because it's tough. It's not for the weak. I did it with my dance girls, and you get very emotionally invested.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I'm hard on those boys because the world's going to be tougher.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and those guys knows what's up. They know that I love them, and I want the best for them, and I hope they have a great season. For them individually and as a team. But I think the biggest thing with that also is just it's just the love and appreciation that I have for the game. I'm still very much a fan.
Oh yes, football was on all the time.
But I think what matters most is what we're going to do now.
Yeah.
I would love, I could talk all day about the plans that I have for myself, but I realized that I needed to surrender those things for the glory of God and for His kingdom. I may have a vision of how I'm going to do it, but my vision is not His vision. Yeah. And that's kind of what I've learned. And I think that's the biggest thing, that, He sent us here for a reason. And I thought, hey, it was to coach, and it was to get there, and it was to do this. And, He got to sit me down and say, hey, son, that's not it, right? That's not why I sent you there. I sent you there for your, I think you're doing good things, but I want something more. And I think
now you've made it, and not necessarily, and I don't think you idolized it, but now you've made it too much of your time. So now it's gotta be moved.
Yes, for sure. And one thing that I always pray is I want what He wants for me. If it ain't for me, take it away from me.
Yeah.
And I would love to have finished a great career here and to do many things and get the wins that I envisioned. But again, His will over my will. So whatever that looks like, I'm all for it. And sometimes it's not going to be what you want. And that's what I kind of also realized.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that segues into, what our series is going to be for the next, couple episodes.
Yeah.
Home improvement. I mean, it's the same thing when it comes to marriage. Sometimes it's not how you want it to look.
Yeah. It's marriage is tough, and they tell us, hey, marriage is hard. But what does that actually mean?
Right.
And what does that look like? I think that's what we're going to kind of get into.
Yeah.
And then try to how to fix those things, really, because every marriage, it doesn't matter how good or how bad it is, it's always worth saving.
Right.
And it's always worth working for and towards to get that common goal, so that you can have the marriage that you want and have the relationship that you want.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about home improvement because let me ask you a question, babe. So when you think of home improvement, what do you think of? Not from the marriage, not where we're going with it, just straight up home improvement.
Oh man, it goes, the lawn, right? Lawn care. Is the hedges cut? Is the grass cut? And then the wear and tear of the building.
Yeah.
Right? Is the bricks chipped? Does it look good? Is the house kind of looking shank? Is the gutters full of leaves and everything? Do I need to get that? How's my roof looking? Right? Is my roof, you want to get your roof checked every 20 years, I think is what the normal is. Like 20 years, every 20 years you want to get your roof checked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But here in Oklahoma, I'm going to say every about 5 years, because you don't know, we get hail, we have
winds all
the time. We have a lot of interesting weather here in Oklahoma.
Nice. Yeah.
So you definitely want to make sure that you're always checking the cracks and the crevices to make sure that your house is as polished on the outside as it is on the inside.
Yeah. I think of all the home improvement shows, and just how they, fix them up nice. For a minute there, I was obsessed with Tiny House. I was watching Tiny House every
11:30 at
just
night,
sitting there I see how they're gonna pull this ladder down, knowing dang well I'm never gonna live in a tiny house because I'm 5'10" and he is 6'2", and no.
My daughter is already looking like
she's long. Almost as tall as our 7-year-old.
Yeah, and he's long, so it's
no, that would not happen. But just watching them build those things and everything was so interesting to me. But it also makes me think about the house we were living in before this house.
Oh man,
that house.
Yeah.
God, thank you for that house. Absolutely. Because we needed the space and everything when we got married, but
there was
the house
coming
looked
out of the vent, y'all.
The house looked nice from the outside, and if you just came in and looking at, oh, this is cute, but they did not fix nothing under the floorboard wall. The foundation was terrible.
But now, I said dirt. Listen, it
was literal sand
by a vent.
It was terrible.
Yeah,
it was bad. It was bad. So that's when I think of home improvement, I always think of that house because it looked so nice. But then once we got in it and got everything really working, it was like, this house has really not been updated.
Yeah.
And that's some marriages sometimes. We have to recognize that, in season, sometimes you have to go back and check that foundation, and you may need to get some stuff fixed. You may need to get some pipes fixed. You may need to get some floorboards fixed. And wallpaper and paint or new furniture is not going to be enough, figuratively speaking. And so, making sure that you're taking those moments to reassess where you are in your relationship is not a bad thing. It doesn't have to be that you're having huge marital problems or huge relationship problems. It just may be
you just need to tweak
the season shift, the foundation shift. Change, absolutely. It's two different people. You were how old when we got married? 31?
Yeah.
30, yeah.
Well,
So-
36, yeah.
So
Oh,
you,
no.
I
32?
know.
32?
you were 32.
About to be 32 is in August.
Yeah. You were 31, about to be 32. So you had that whole time before we got married as a person and gone through the things you went through. And then me, I was 28, 29, whatever. And same thing. And so, when we got married, we had the best intentions. We wanted to do the best things for each other. And I think that we did what we knew we needed to do. But over time, you just learn about people and people change and you got to relearn them. Marriages change and you got to relearn the marriage. So, I mean, all of that goes into what we're going to be talking about. But I got to ask you, so
Okay.
since we're being real and everything,
As
what
always.
is a pressure point that you've
Ooh.
learned in our marriage thus far? We just celebrated 4 years in
Pressure-
August.
Pressure point for me or pressure point for you?
A pressure point. Well, I guess pressure point's not really the right word, but something that bugs you that I do in our marriage.
Okay, y'all. So apparently she's been told this her entire life by her mom, shout out Mama Carla, to put the food, right, in the trash can. But what she likes to do, still to this day, is she likes to just put all the food, her bones, whatever we have for dinner, she'll just put it in the sink.
Bones.
There's been times.
Okay.
There's been times.
Probably.
So she just puts it in the sink, and then the sink, it's just all like good, like mushy food in the sink. It drives me up a wall.
Y'all, I have the best intentions
She
to
does.
not do it.
She does.
But it happens.
But it happens. And so, that's one thing that I'm just like, girl, I need you to fix this. But at the same point in time, it's like, that's minor, right? I think if 29-year-old me, you know what I'm saying? When I was a lot younger and a lot more hot-headed, he probably would have had a bigger issue with it, right? I've learned that some things, right? Home improvement is also about self-improvement. That
That's good.
is it worth really getting a fight over? Is it really worth disturbing the house? Because no.
I seen a
it's
post
not.
today that a guy was like, I asked my father what's the best advice you could give me before I get married, and he was like, say your third thought. Don't say your first and second, because
That's
it's
real.
probably gonna start an argument. Say your third thought.
That's good.
And I was like,
oh, that's good. That's real good.
That's
Because that's
real.
what I'm gonna start doing now. But no, I think that's like kind of what I do, right? But because it's like, oh, I gotta bite my lip, and I'll bite my lip. The inside of my lip's probably raw as much as I bite it.
wow.
No, it's just in general though. I'm just like, because like, listen, you know me now well enough
Oh yeah.
that if something has bothered me, sometimes it's just gonna come out.
He's
Like
a
the
0
reason-
to 100.
Like the reason of me getting let go, right?
He's a 0 to 100.
It
guy,
is what
for
it
sure.
is. It
Yeah.
is what it is. Because, it's not going to come out right, but at the
I
same
gotta
point in
warm
time,
up to it. But then once I get at so he's like 0 to 100, but then he can go back from 100 to a 0 pretty quick.
yeah,
Me, it takes me a while to simmer up and warm up, but then once I'm warmed up,
she there.
I'm stuck
It's
there
stuck.
for a minute, and
Yeah.
you gonna get that boil.
And it's like, I can't even yo, chill. Nah, chill for what?
It sounded so gangster.
Because that's how I feel that you come at me. And it's like not even like you coming at me like I'm the issue. It was like the issue 2-3 minutes ago. Now, granted, it's still fresh.
Right.
I understand. But it's like she said, I'm just like, once I get it out and over with, I'm on to the next.
Yeah.
So, that's something that we all have to work at, right? But,
Yeah. Let me tell
so
my pressure
what's your
point.
pressure point? Because I know you got a good one.
I got a
1,000.
plethora. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Mine is the fact that we have a really big, nice laundry basket in the closet.
This is every guy's problem.
And this is the laundry basket, and he puts his clothes right here. Y'all, right here.
Like this.
Right here.
But you gotta let clothes air out. That's what she don't realize.
Oh, but he never goes back to put them out after they air out.
Yeah.
So
That's cat.
Anyways, so this is my truth. No, I'm just kidding. But when we first got married, I kid you not, y'all, I would be in the closet just so irritated because I'm just like, it's right there. It's right there. Now I just go and pick it up and I just put it in there because it's just like,
That's fair.
for what? What am I going to get all flustered for? It's just right here. And I know I annoy him sometimes, i.e. the dishes. So,
Yeah,
or the
and,
food in the dishes. So, again, like you said, is this worth
And you know what's
an
wild though
argument?
too? It's just like that. We actually have a dishwasher. I mean, not dishwasher. We have a garbage disposal, right? So, but we don't use it like that for whatever reason.
You didn't have to add all of that,
I
but
did.
okay.
Because I want to let them know, like, no, we got a garbage disposal. Because the other house that we did live at, the one with the dust, they didn't have that or a dishwasher.
Oh gosh, it
So-
sure did.
So we, and that's another thing about home improvement. You always want to find and improve the things that you didn't have when you begin.
Mhm. We had a whole list of stuff that we didn't realize that we needed that was not in that house. So then when we moved to this house, we were like it didn't have a lot of outlets.
No.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And so we came to look at this house, and that guy probably was like, "Why are they looking?" Because we were like, "There's an outlet. There's an outlet." And he was probably like, "Why are they counting outlets?"
Yeah.
It's like because we didn't realize how important it was.
But which brings us to the next, part of it's like, what worried you about the marriage in the beginning?
That doesn't now. Oh
That
gosh,
doesn't now,
what worried me?
or that may change.
I think.
Like, hopefully it does change. 'Cause, again,
I think what worried me at the beginning was our communication styles.
that's
Because he is very blunt and was very passive, talk around
Go right
till
ahead.
I get to the point 18 minutes later. And so it would cause us to have these I didn't feel like we really fought a lot, but I feel like we debated a lot, and it was really we were saying the same thing, but it was just because we were saying it two different ways and we weren't hearing each other. Or I would frustrate you because I would take all day, and then I would get offended because you were so blunt.
Yeah, and so
that worried
about that
me.
though, so people know, like, there's this book that I read. I like to read now that I've gotten to my big age. I read all kinds of books, man. I'm always about trying to figure out how I can add things to me, not only for myself but for others. Like, I give unsolicited advice. That's probably like a big.
That's my favorite thing.
It's probably like a big thing people don't like sometimes. I think
it's like my favorite thing about him when we go to his family. Not necessarily my family, but when we go to his family, because he loves to go, fun fact, and then tell something, and you can see everybody being like,
here we go.
Here he go. And I love watching the room because it's just funny because they're just like, here's Travis. Fun fact.
Yeah, no, for real. I read a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. And it just talked about how we as Americans, we beat around the bush a lot. So I read that book when I was about 30, 29, about 30, I'd say, 30, 31. It's back when I first started reading again. And I was like, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to just say it. It may not come out fresh, but I don't really care about stepping on toes because things need to be said that need to be said. And more times than not, everybody's thinking it, but nobody's going to say it. I'm going to say it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. And
it's like fringe. I have this it's a security thing for me that I hug myself and literally now that we've been married for a minute, I know when he's about to go there with somebody and I'm just like.
Yeah. But I've done a good job of actually, pulling it back too now again.
We rubbed off on each other.
Getting older. But
for sure.
I still am going to say what I'm going to say.
But I feel like now when you say it, you do it with a little bit more
love
love and compassion with it. But you still say what you got to say. But you're not just like, blah, here we go.
Yeah, because...
And I get to my point a lot faster.
A lot quicker than you used to. You know what I mean? So that's the beauty about, iron sharpening iron. And a husband and wife becoming one because we most times than not, it's funny to me. We both heard a song today when we was shopping, and we both did the same exact thing. I remember what song it was when we was in the store.
Some early 2000s rock song.
Yeah, but we both made the extra sound beat, and it was like she was like, "You just made the same thing." I was like, "Yeah," and I laughed about it. But that's the beauty again about just being married to a friend that is just as funny as I am. So that's
Genuinely like each other.
yeah, and that's big. That's what I realized as I got older is that you should like the person that you're in love with, and if you don't like them, then you probably shouldn't get married to them. But that's
we'll get into all of that. This
topic.
is just the intro.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We gotta ease y'all back in.
Yeah.
It's been a minute since y'all seen us.
Yes. But what else is some type of pressure points in a relationship that married couples are going to have compared to just a boyfriend and a girlfriend?
Comparison, which we've talked about before. If you haven't watched our old videos, you can go back and watch them. We probably will, some stuff may come back around just because it's still relevant. But I'd say comparison because, social media, it's everywhere. And just seeing, you have to know what phase you're in your marriage, because you don't know what phases other people are in. They may
Right.
They may be in a different phase where they've put in the work and now they're flourishing. So yeah, they're going on all these expensive trips or doing all these things, while your marriage, you may be over here in the grind season where you're
Right.
building that foundation to be able to do those things later in life. And so it may be a little bit not as lavish at the moment,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that what you're doing is not important. And so understanding that you have to almost put blinders on sometimes. Like
Yeah.
you cannot
look
You
at
can't
the
get caught
caught
up.
neighbor's fence.
You cannot get caught up. And then I think it was, I want to say it was Pastor Jerry Flowers that may have said it, but he was like, or somebody that was on one of his videos was talking about people get caught up in social media thinking it's real life, but it's really just a highlight. It's a highlight reel. And so you got to remember that nobody's going to sit there and put on social media when they're upset at their spouse. They're going to put when they're all lovey-dovey doing all of that
Now,
stuff.
there are some people that are out there that's like fishing for some attention.
Yeah,
You
and
know what I'm
that's,
saying? But for the most part, no.
but you're not comparing your situation to
Yeah.
those people.
One of my favorite quotes or sayings about that is comparison is the thief to joy,
Yeah,
right?
and I ain't got time for it.
And I ain't got time, right? Kudos to all the couples that are, hey, doing well and doing that, whatever, or whatever it is, what I'm saying? I'm not going to hate on nobody doing better or worse than me because I don't know what they've gone through.
Mhm.
That's something I tell my students all the time, man. Like, I give respect. Like, it is what it is. I give respect to everybody. For me, now you can lose respect, but for the most part, as soon as I meet you, I respect you, right? Because you're doing the best what you can do in life with what you got, whatever it is, and you're here 24 hours in the day, just like me. So
Yeah.
why should I make your life more miserable or whatever? So that's the big thing. I that was some good points about that. Some other pressure points in a marriage and
Fighting fair.
fighting fair. Yeah.
And like,
using because we watched a show called what did we watch last night? Was it on that one?
you talking about Reasonable Doubt?
Reasonable Doubt. When the husband had, like, these people had a fight.
Yeah.
The husband, in their dating phase, right? Let me go back. In their dating phase, the girl had said, "I was really chubby back in my youth, and I was very insecure about it." Fast forward, they're married. They're at year 8, 7, 9, or whatever, and he was like, "I knew you was gonna get fat. He was fat, but he was little."
And she wasn't even fat, y'all.
she was in a shape person that,
Mental.
you know what I'm saying, and that was some mental abuse. And so that's some things that, you know, that's really, really uncalled for in marriages. But a lot of people are dealing with it and going through it.
Low blows and all that. But also, not even just fighting fair between each other, but recognizing when the issue is an outside issue and not an inside issue, where it's we need to be together as a united front to fight whatever situation or whatever the enemy is throwing at us, and not allowing that situation to come between you and your spouse and cause.
But you got to have that open door of communication.
Yeah.
And you, again, have to be able to. Honestly, I think you got to get outside yourself a lot in marriage. About how you feel, because it's sometimes, I say most of the time, really not about you. It's about the other spouse. And if you can figure out what is the issue, because she does a great job of knowing when I'm in my own head.
He'd be so annoyed too. He'd be like, "You don't know me." I'm like, "Yeah, actually, I do."
Yeah, she
You're
does
off.
a great job.
What's wrong?
Yeah, I mean, and I've gotten better because I'm paying more attention to her moods. One, because she's pregnant, right? But again, I want to know her intimately, and to do that, I got to be able to pay attention to what she's got going on in her life. We always do, you know. We'll get into some tricks and tricks.
Yeah.
But I think that was a great, first opening and a welcome back.
Yeah. We don't want to get too deep into it. We're gonna break it up so you guys can really, understand where we're coming from with this home improvement series, and hopefully give you guys some nuggets that'll help you guys and get to know us, because this is what we're gonna be doing, chatting it up.
Yeah.
Sitting at the table, chilling. May have some snacks sometimes because I'm pregnant. I'm about to give me a snack right now. But
yeah. So thank you for joining us on Happily Ever After Hours. We hope that you enjoyed this conversation. It's one of hopefully many, many, many more. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Until next time, keep letting God create your love story.
bye, guys.